Welcome to the Highlights from Ukraine podcast, your daily audio summary of the latest news reported in the Ukrainian media. We would really appreciate if you could recommend us to your friends and family as well as share information on social media. This way more people will find out about the highlights from Ukraine and learn the truth about the war. My name is Artem and here is the news. For 248 days, Ukraine stands strong against the forces of the Russian invasion. Explosions ran out in the Russian-occupied city of Sevastopol in the Crimean peninsula yesterday morning, reports Ukrainska Pravda. Russia has claimed that its ships were repelling a drone attack. Some sources reported damage to several vessels of the Russian Black Sea Fleet. Later, the Russian Defense Ministry blamed Ukraine for the attack and confirmed that the Ivan Golubets, a minesweeper vessel, was damaged. They claimed that Ukrainian forces used 7 autonomous maritime drones and 9 unmanned aerial vehicles to conduct a terrorist attack against the fleet and civilian targets in Sevastopol. At the same time, Ukrainian armed forces suspect that failed launches of air defense missiles could be a reason for explosions in Sevastopol. According to the Russia's defense ministry, the attack was carried out by Ukraine, allegedly with the participation of British specialists. Russia also blamed the British Navy for allegedly having planned and carried out a terrorist attack on the Nord Stream 1 and Nord Stream 2 gas pipelines. The UK Defense Ministry responded that to detract from their disastrous handling of the illegal invasion of Ukraine, the Russian Ministry of Defense is resorting to padding false claims of an epic scale. According to the US Institute for the Study of War, likely Ukrainian forces conducted an attack against the Black Sea Fleet of Russia near Sevastopol with unmanned surface vehicles, reports Zerkalo Tizhnya. The experts believe that the target was not the minesweeper but a Grigorovich-class frigate capable of launching caliber cruise missiles. Social media footage documented an unknown number of unmanned surface vehicles striking at least one Grigorovich-class frigate in Sevastopol on October 29th. Regarding Russia's claims that it was a terrorist attack, the institute points out that targeting military vessels in wartime is a legitimate act of war and not a terrorist attack. The real damage to Black Sea Fleet vessels is unclear at this time. Russian officials didn't acknowledge any damage to a Grigorovich-class frigate, but before they also denied any damage to the cruiser Moskva when Ukrainian forces sank it on April 14th. The Black Sea Fleet has 3 Grigorovich-class frigates, all of which are capable of firing caliber cruise missiles. The experts stress that a possible Ukrainian decision to target caliber-capable frigates at this time makes sense given the intensified Russian drone and missile strike campaign targeting Ukrainian energy infrastructure. If Kyiv ordered this attack, it would have been a proportionate, even restrained response to the extensive Russian strategic bombing campaign attacking civilian targets throughout Ukraine over the past few weeks. After the explosions, Russia has announced that it is suspending its participation in the Black Sea Grain Initiative, supposedly because of what they call a terrorist attack, reports European Pravda. The grain initiative that allowed limited export of grain from Ukrainian seaports started in July and was set to end in November unless sides agreed to continue it. Almost from the beginning, Russia had been threatening to withdraw if its demands were not met. Recently, the Kremlin did everything to slow down the export, which resulted in a queue of about 150 vessels that were waiting to get to the Ukrainian ports. After the decision of the Defense Ministry, the Russian Ministry of Agriculture announced that Russia is ready to completely replace Ukrainian grain on the world market. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine considers Russia's decision as a manifestation of Moscow's course towards destabilizing global food security under false pretenses, reports Ukrinform. Ukraine called on the UN and Turkey as guarantors of the grain initiative, as well as countries that depend on Ukrainian grain exports, to send a clear message to Russia about the unacceptability of holding hundreds of millions of people in the world hostage. The UN called on all parties to refrain from any actions that could jeopardize the implementation of the agreement, reports NVUA. The UN added that it maintains contacts with the Russian authorities on this issue. The US President Joe Biden reacted to Russia's decision, saying that it is purely outrageous and that it is going to increase starvation, reports Union. The General Staff of Ukraine informed that Russian losses in the war in Ukraine reached 70,000 military personnel. The Ukrainian forces also managed to destroy about 2,600 tanks, 1,700 artillery systems, 273 aircraft, 252 helicopters, and many others. As part of another prisoner exchange, 52 people were released, including officers, medics, surgeons, and soldiers, reports Interfax Ukraine. Among the released are 2 medics from Azovstal, a marine whose wife recently came out of captivity, and also a sailor from the Zmyiny Island. Slovenia handed over to Ukraine 28 M55S tanks, reports Militarny. The Ministry of Defense of Slovenia confirmed that the tanks were successfully transferred to Ukraine. These tanks were in the reserve of the Slovenian army. In return for them, Slovenia will receive a range of military equipment from Germany. If you like what we do and would like to tip us, you can now do so directly to our PayPal. Check out the link in the description to this episode for more details. And as usual, you can subscribe to our Patreon. In gratitude for your help, we will give you access to a series of exclusive episodes on wartime life in Ukraine. We call on you to demand from governments of your countries to impose the toughest sanctions possible on Russia and its citizens to stop their invasion of Ukraine.